This reminds me a bit of Donald Trump talking about the 400-pound guy in the basement who may have been involved in hacking elections. The misdirection or the redirection to China and Iran, in your evaluation, they're not non-events, but they're nowhere close to the efforts that the Russians are engaging in.
Well, this is a point that we've been making with the intelligence community, which is they need to distinguish for the American people who is doing what. These three actors are not the same in terms of their intentions, in terms of their actions, in terms of their capabilities. But, clearly the administration is trying to push out this line that China is the only concern. But if you look carefully at the statement that the ODNI issued today, it says China has a preference, but Russia is engaged in actions. And I think that the intelligence community needs to be more explicit about this, and it can do so without compromising sources and methods. But clearly the president wishes to, blind himself and blind the country to what Russia is doing. And indeed, at that same press conference today, when he was confronted with the intelligence community saying Russia is interfering to denigrate his opponent, he expressed disbelief and said he doesn't care what anybody says.
Yeah, well, he hasn't cared the whole time. A couple nights ago, I spoke with Senator Blumenthal of Connecticut, who had one of those briefings, one of those in-camera briefings that to which you are entitled. And he came out and, again, was not able to share that classified information, but feels that that information should be declassified and shared with Americans in the interest of national security, in the interest of our elections. What's your view on the fact that you've been getting this information for a few weeks? It is apparently very alarming information.
Well, it is. And, when the president says, this is new information, the information is not new. All that's new is that the office of the director made it public. But unless the president is not being briefed on this and not reading his briefing materials, and it's certainly possible that his briefers are unwilling to confront him with Russian interference, with Russian bounties. They're just not willing to tell him because, as he said today, he doesn't care what anybody says. He is not going to think or believe ill of his friend Vladimir Putin. And the result is that our elections go unprotected, that our troops may go less protected than they should be because the commander-in-chief doesn't take it seriously. There is no reason why the intelligence community can't be more forthcoming, except it would displease Donald Trump. And that's simply not a good enough answer.
Has the office of the Director of National Intelligence been politicized under this president? That was obviously the biggest fear about this, that office needs to be run by experts and needs to not be political. And it is not today actually run by an expert, and it sounds like it's political.
Well, look, the low ebb for the intelligence community, I think in recent memory, was the appointment of Rick Grinnell, who had none of the experience necessary for that job and was essentially a political hack for the president. And turn that top intelligence office into a political office to carry water for the president. Happily, he's gone. Whether Ratcliffe will continue that tradition or will have the independence from the president to fulfill that role, it's too early to tell. But it is concerning that we have had to essentially pull teeth to get the intelligence community to issue the statement it did today. And we still want them to share more with the American people. Both because the American people have a right to know. These agencies are gathering this intelligence for policymakers and to protect the country and the public, but also, Ali, because it's a deterrent to the Russians. If you don't call them out, if you simply equate what the Russians are doing with what China may be doing or Iran may be doing or North Korea, and you fail to distinguish, then you're basically giving the Russians a green light because they know they won't be held accountable.